As a father of 3 children, we get invitations to birthday parties all the time. Sometimes they seem to come in on a weekly basis. And whether or not we're going to attend that birthday party is dependent upon a couple of factors. Does my child know this child? Do I know the parents? And even then, I might feel obligated to come, although it's not obligatory, it's an invitation. But I might feel obligated to come. Not really looking forward to it, but I end up making a friend, or my child ends up getting closer to one of their friends. Or I might joyfully come to the birthday party and my child might willingly accept the invitation, but then we go there and it doesn't turn out very well. But either way, relationships are key to accepting an invitation. And it's similar when Christians decide to invite their neighbors or their friends or their family members to worship. Relationships play a big part in that. You might invite them to come, they might dread coming, but feel obligated to. But when they come, the sermon convicts them in some way, they make a connection with somebody else, and so something good comes out of that. Or they might joyfully accept the invitation, but then they come to a place of worship and they don't make any connections. The sermon doesn't convict them or touch them in any particular way. And so either way, relationships play a big part in inviting someone to worship. But the question is, how do you invite someone to worship? Do you send them an invitation card, like a birthday party? Maybe. I think probably one of the easiest ways that we can participate in evangelism is by inviting someone to worship. And yet, that's probably one of the things that we feel most uncomfortable with, at least in some way. It surprises me sometimes people that I view as outgoing are still hesitant to invite someone to come and worship at our congregation. And that's unfortunate. So we've committed to a 2020 vision in which we said that we're going to try and help 20 new people come to know Christ in this year. We're wanting to add 20 new disciples to the church here in Dripping Springs. And a key part of that is learning how to be more evangelistic. I realize that I'm not as nearly talented or as equipped in this area as I would like to be, and I know there's probably many of you who feel the same way. So we're going to share some of these videos over the course of the next few months to help equip our congregation to better evangelize. We want these to be practical. We don't want the videos to be very long, and we just want you to be able to take some tools with you to help you engage with the community in our 2020 vision for this coming year. So this video is going to focus in on, how do I invite someone to worship? How do I actually do that? Well, here's 5 ways that you can invite someone to worship. Number 1, ask them this. Do you have a church home? Do you worship anywhere here in the area? That's a pretty easy question, and it's a question that most people aren't surprised to hear, especially if they're new to the area. Do you have a church home? Are you worshiping anywhere? That's a good question to ask. Some people don't, and they're willing to come. Some people do have a church home, but they're dissatisfied with something there. And you would be surprised at the things that people are dissatisfied with. Sometimes it has to do with the worship. Sometimes it has to do with the teaching. Sometimes it just has to do with their lack of relationships in that particular church home. Some are always searching. And of course, more and more within our culture and within our area, people don't even know Christ. Maybe they know something about Jesus, or they feel that they're saved, but they're not connected with any group of people. And so that opens the door for us. But a key part in this area is to be excited about your church family. Be excited for the Dripping Springs Church of Christ. Be excited about what we're doing here, about what we have in Christ, about our mission and the love that we share. Say things like, I'd love you to come and worship with us. We really try and follow just the Bible. We're just trying to be Christians. That's all we're trying to do is follow the New Testament, be disciples of Jesus. I think you would really enjoy getting to meet some of the people there and some of the messages that we hear. If they are dissatisfied with something about a church group that they're a part of, for example, I've heard of individuals who are dissatisfied with the more entertainment-driven rock band worship that is becoming more and more prevalent amongst the denominational world. And so what I'll sometimes say to them is, we don't do that at the Dripping Springs Church of Christ. All we do is worship as a congregation, a cappella, and we find that not only is that biblical, but it also helps to engage every member in the worship of God. Do something like that to help them to see the strengths of the congregation and of the Church of Christ. So be excited about it. You have to, if you're just dreading, if you're not really excited about what we're doing here, then you're probably not going to invite people. But if the church means something to you, if you know how much we love each other, how much we love the Lord, then that should give you a reason to ask somebody, do you have a church home? If not, I want you to come and check us out. Number 2, use me, the preacher, or the elders, or the church itself as a reason and incentive for inviting them. I mentioned this on Sunday, but sometimes using challenges from the elders and preacher can be a good bridge. Say something along the lines of, our preacher recently challenged us to invite more people to the congregation in the coming year, and you're my person. You're one of the people I want to invite. Or our church has committed to inviting more people in this coming year to worship, and so I'm wanting to do that. That's a really easy segue into inviting someone to worship. It helps to build that bridge to where you can invite them in that way. Number 3, discuss some new program that's going on at the church or some new sermon series and invite them to that. Maybe here at Dripping Springs we have our first Sunday focus, and that's where we have a meal and then a short devotional service in the afternoon. We don't have an evening worship. It's a perfect time to invite someone to come here and worship with us. And we're planning on making those family and friend days moving forward in the new future. So say, listen, we've got a meal on Sunday. We want you to be a part of that. You can get to know people. It's a great opportunity. Maybe there's church game nights. That's a great time. There's new sermon series, again, that you can say, listen, I want you to come. Our preacher's starting this new series. It's this. I think it would really connect with you in some way. Number 4, if it's someone that you don't know, maybe a waiter at a restaurant or someone even at a drive-through window, compliment them and then give them one of our invitation cards. We've had these specially made invitation cards that we've offered to the congregation. So if you're going through a drive-through or you're at a restaurant, you might say something along the lines of, hey, I really appreciate the good job that you've done today. You always do a good job when we come here. I just want to invite you to come to worship with us. You can sit with me and my family. We'd love to have you come. So that's a good way to invite someone who you don't know that well. Compliment them first and then invite them. And then number 5, share our Facebook page, our sermon material, our articles that we post on Facebook and on social media. Share those and say, hey, we would love to have you. Come, please be a part of this. Leave a card at a restaurant on the table. These are kind of permissive, non-invasive ways to invite people. But I do want to say this. That's the least personal way to invite someone, and I would most likely say the least effective way, because people don't feel any connection with the person. But that is one way. I would encourage us to use all 5 of these ways to invite people to worship in the coming year. Statistically speaking, there's a pretty good chance that over half of the people that you invite will actually accept that invitation, or at least appreciate you inviting them to come and worship with us. So keep that statistic in mind. You're going to have people say no. You're going to have people feel awkward just because you're inviting them. That's okay. We're not worried about being awkward. We're worried about saving that person's soul. And the only way they're going to do that is by coming to know Christ, by becoming a part of His church, by becoming a part of His people, by receiving His love and His grace and His mercy that's found within the bride of Christ, the church of Christ. So I want to encourage you to invite people in this way. 5 ways, just real quickly, reviewing it. Number 1, ask them, do you have a church home? Do you worship anywhere? Be excited about what we're doing here at the Dripping Springs Church of Christ. Number 2, use the preacher and the elders as incentive for inviting them. Number 3, discuss a new program with them and invite them to it. Number 4, compliment them and then give them a card. Number 5, share our material on social media. I hope that those 5 ways will encourage you and help you and equip you to invite more people with our 2020 vision in this coming year to save souls. 20 souls in year 2020.